This podcast is rated E for explicit. I have referred to her as a two-tongued witch. I've heard her described as a quote-unquote bitch. And if these words cut, she's earned every stitch. She is the aunt who inspired Sleeping Dogs No Longer Lie. And I'll do my very best to tell you why. I'm Akil Johnson, and this is a new series we're starting this season called Inspired. It's about the poems and the stories that inspired them. You met me in the midst of many things. Shedding skin, sprout wings, looking at life as a spiritual being through a human lens, having conversations with God about so many things. This show is your invitation. The poet God is the conversation. So, one night, about 17 years ago now, I remember being up kind of late, hanging out at my grandmother's house, and my cousin, who was the closest thing I had to a brother at the time, came over. He was heavy-hearted that night. He had a lot of things on his mind, and I think he just wanted to escape from everything just for a little while. And I could always make him laugh without even trying. After talking and watching TV for a bit, we were interrupted when my aunt walked through the door and saw us. She asked why we were sitting in the dark watching TV like a couple. I mean, she said some other out-of-the-way shit that insinuated we were doing something sexual. I remember looking over at him and seeing the hurt and disappointment on his face and wanting to protect him from the ugliness that she was projecting in that moment. Also, because one of the things that we talked about that night were rumors that people were spreading about him around town. People like her, saying things like what she said. I couldn't protect him, and I certainly couldn't protect myself. She was, and still is, a bully. And I was a different person back then, fearful and afraid to fight back. So I swallowed a whole lot of shit that people shuffled my way. But this poem was the beginning of a different kind of day. My cousin left soon after, with a heavier heart than what he came with that night. And we were two sensitive souls. Perhaps that's one reason we bonded like brothers. Back then, he was one of the few people who loved me unconditionally. So strongly I never doubted it. Although sadly things are different now. Time hasn't been kind to who we used to be. And so much time has passed, I feel like I don't know him anymore. And I don't know how to get back to what used to be so innocent and pure. We'll be right back after these messages. Sleeping Dogs No Longer Lie is a poem that was published in my book, Lies I Never Quite Believed. And there's a blurb before each poem where I talk about what inspired it. And it's sort of how the format of this series will be. And what that blurb says for this particular poem is as follows. This article was inspired by a relationship that was changing with an aunt who I yearned to please as a child. She represented the hold that people we love can have on us when we can only see ourselves through their eyes. But I woke up when I began to see myself through my own. Here is Sleeping Dogs No Longer Lie. My mind is made up. Now it's time for the shake-up. Are you ready for the wake-up? For this sleeping dog is among those who no longer lie. While I have been sleeping, I have been dreaming that I can fly. While asleep to the truth, I've seen a new reality through God's eyes. I have been under the illusion of a false ideology and sedated with a heavy dose of inferiority. You have attempted to get me to abort a great possibility. But you will tell them that I am smelling my piss. That comes from the inferiority list. It's how you say, get back in your place. And it holds the connotation that I am worth no more than waste. It is really your own self-image you are projecting. It distracts others from your insecurities, which you are protecting. You are more concerned with controlling others than character perfecting. Now that I have blown up your spot, you should know that I have the power to destroy any other masks you've got. So I won't ask you to release me, because that is simply not your choice. I no longer look to you to complete me, nor do I seek comfort from your voice. You say that I am smelling my piss. And I know for sure that is not true, because the urine on the floor, honey, is coming from you. Are you ready to take me on? Because I'm well rested. You've made me strong. I'm ready for all you've got. So go ahead and take your best shot. Your fears have been predicated, and I just realized why. Because you now know sleeping dogs no longer lie. With the puzzle, you have confused us, and with the muzzle, you have us tamed. And in the name of Jesus, you have us enslaved. Your methods no longer hold power because our ideology has been reconsidered. When we woke up, your influence withered. We no longer endure the enslaving pains. It is our decision to break those dog chains. They held us not because of their power. It was a trick of the mind that caused us to cower. The idealisms we had, which we now recover, have given new hope for us to discover. So now we realize the same way we broke free is the secret to changing the world in which we be. The secret is in our mentality. We stopped waiting for the world to change, and we realize that we are the change that needs to be. No more poor black me. The white man has taken away my identity. You are the author of your own possibility. You must reform your own ideology. After that, there will be, for you, a new reality. The life you want, you can realize it. Order it up, and then supersize it. Thank you for listening. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Poet God. My book, Lies I Never Quite Believed, is available just about everywhere books are sold. And the best thing that you can do to support this podcast is share, rate, and review. Help my baby to grow up and be strong, just like so many of you. I'm Akil Johnson, and this is Inspired.